I'm going to ask my Uncle Robert to take the seat directly in front of me and put on a set of headphones, and we'll join a conversation with between myself and the President of the Republic of Palau. And I haven't answered the phone yet, Uncle Robert, because I was fuzzy on how I addressed the President.
Yeah. His Excellency.
His Excellency. Now, do I have to do that every time I direct a question to him?
No,
or
you
can I
just say Mr. President.
Mr. President, okay. And at some point, maybe it's just down to Tommy.
Yeah, he probably prefers that. I don't know.
We'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the President of Palau, Tommy Remengesau. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, and please just call me Tommy the Fisherman.
it'll be tough, but I'll see if I can meet that. I wanted to say hello to you from my good friend and Uncle Robert's good friend Yoichi Rengyo at the University of Guam, who made the arrangements for this phone call.
Okay.
And
well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Tuta Rubak Underwood and Tuta it's good to be here.
And though he hasn't said so, I know that your very good friend Tony Babauta is also very close to the radio this morning, and I'm sure he's sending his warmest Hafa Day greetings to you.
Yes, Palau is fortunate to have many good friends from Guam in the region.
Well, I'm delighted. This is our first meeting, our very first conversation, although I've seen you at many functions. You come to Guam quite regularly, don't you?
Well, you have to go through Guam to go anywhere, so it's always a good opportunity to see friends and relatives, and especially fellow Palauans there in Guam. So thank you for allowing me to come on the show with you.
Well, thank you very much for your stewardship over the environment and the islands down there. I was just looking at the map of your EEZ, and about 80% of it now is protected as a marine sanctuary. How'd you get that done?
Well, first of all, Ray, there is a Palauan ownership to the concept of a marine sanctuary, or a bull, as we say in Palau. And so it's always been in the practice of our culture, and our ancestors, the traditional Rubaks and leaders of Palau, have always instituted the bull. So this is not something that we had to invent or devise. It's actually a practice done in the past. There has been very good results of the conservation, or the bull, or the sanctuary, whatever name you call it. And so it just made sense to do it at this time, where research, science, and reality tells us that we need to do a conservation or a sanctuary in order to provide food security for our future generation.
I'm curious, can you tell me a little bit more about the traditional practice of the bull?
Okay, Ray. First of all, let me say that while our ancestors were not scientists, they certainly proved and experienced the results of setting aside a no-take zone. The idea is that if you have a reef totaling the size of a football field, and you open the whole reef to a take zone, or you are allowed to fish in all that reef, then chances are the population of the fish will be depleted or will be gone, versus if you set aside 1/3 of that same reef. The idea is that 1/3 then will help to repopulate or regenerate the marine life in the 2/3 that is allowed fishing. And I may add also that thanks to the University of Guam, some years back ago, they did a research on this concept and proved that, yes, indeed, if you set aside just a portion of the reef, that reef will have more fish population than another reef where it was just an open 100% fishing.
The idea of sustainability, and that's a conversation that my Uncle Robert and I have had many times on the air and even off the air. He's with me in the studio now. Uncle Robert, do we have something an analog here in the Marianas to the concept?
No, not directly, but you know what President Remengesau is articulating is kind of an indigenous perspective that is being brought forward, and I have to congratulate him on that. And you know that's why he's one of the he was designated one of the environmental heroes of the world by Time Magazine, because he understands the connection between indigenous practices and the future sustainability of the island. And so what he's doing is kind of common practice in many areas. It's not common here. Of course, Guam is a large place, and for hundreds of years there were, particularly after the original conquest, there were very few people here, so there was no need to have this kind of sustainability. But now that we see it, we're going to have we have a lot of conversation about the scientific implications of this, but it's pretty obvious.
Well, what strikes me about this, and Mr. President, you said it's a portion of an area that would need to get set aside in the traditional practice. Maybe a third of the area would need to be set aside as a no-take place, and the other 2/3 you could still fish, and it would in fact help those other 2/3 areas to attract and keep more and more diverse fish life. So it doesn't sound like it's as much of a burden. It doesn't sound like we're quitting smoking or something, or we're just never going to take from this area. Set aside just a small portion of it, and before you know it, it will rebound, and the whole area will be healthier as a result.
And so the setting the benchmarks for that and tracking it, and then setting up the marine protected areas, of course, and that's a fairly controversial topic here on island.
Absolutely is. Mr. President, can you tell me a little bit about what some of the challenges were to set this up? Obviously, you're the leader, the father of the family out there, but there are other people that you needed to convince that this was a good idea. So tell me politically about some of the challenges that you underwent before you were able to come up with this sanctuary law.
Well, thank you, Ray. And first of all, if I can just state the fact that the size of our total exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, is really over 600,000 square kilometers. That's about the size of the state of Texas, or the size of the country of France. So it's not a small reef area that we're talking about. And what the sanctuary represents with 80% of a no-take zone is actually about 500,000 square kilometers.
Big.
So we're doing an 80,000 no-take, 80% no-take zone to support the 20% that we will open for fishing. And the idea is that it's not just for the fish and food security of Palau, but we would like to also contribute to the region, to Yap, to Guam, Saipan, FSM, Marshalls, because there is a spillover. There is a crossover benefit of the fish if in such an area that could migrate or move on to the other parts of the region. And the whole idea is that if every part of the region has a sanctuary, then that will add on to the repopulating and the sustainable population of marine life. As it is, research have shown and studies have shown that fish stocks are down, fish sizes are down, and if we don't do some balance or sustainable practices, then there will be no more fish for the future generation. So this concept was endorsed and supported by all our traditional leaders, our state governors, our Chamber of Commerce, our NGOs and fishing associations, boaters associations, tourism associations, because they knew the economic security benefits that would also come from this. We have to not just feed ourselves, but feed the tourists. And the tourists have to see fish, they have to see sharks, they have to see all kinds of catch and release activities or ecotourism. So the challenge was always political, Ray. We had the support of, I would say, 80% of the population and the leadership, but it just went through a political process where it didn't really transpire as quickly as we wanted it to. But now that it's done, enforcement is the main thing. We need to have a credible surveillance and enforcement mechanism in place. And because this is such an ambitious and a big project, the whole international community are now lining up to be partners of Palau so that we can show that this initiative can be a success story, not just for Palau, but for the Pacific and for the international community.
So you're going
After all, Ray, the ocean right now has been designated, has been included as one of the sustainable development goals in the coming millennium. And every country, every region needs to do something about the ocean. We need to take care of it, and we need to sustain it for the international community and the next generation.
So you'll have some assistance doing some of the patrolling that you need to do all the way from the northern tips of Bebeldub down to the Sonsorol Islands, right? That's a big
right.
area that you've got to cover.
Thank our friends, first of all, like from Japan. They're doing a new patrol boat that's about $37 million, bigger than our present PSS Remengesau patrol boat. We're getting also some smaller patrol vessels donated by some peace foundations like Nippon and Sasakawa. Australia is also replacing our PSS Remengesau with a new boat, a 40-meter patrol vessel donated by the Australian government. And so everything is coming into place. We're going to get assistance also to have some satellite monitoring and surveillance equipment, as well as partnership. We hope to engage the partnership of the U.S. Department of Defense, Japan's Department of Defense, and Australian Department of Defense to jointly do surveillance and monitoring efforts in our region. And I think this is a good thing, not just for environment, but also for the border integrity of the region.
President Remengesau is a very modest man, so I'll add to this.
Go ahead.
You know, what the president is doing, and if it's done in conjunction with other entities in the Pacific Islands, there will be interlocking EEZs, which will cover virtually almost the entire Pacific. And so then that kind of networking for a sustainable yield and for fisheries in the future will affect the kind of global economy that we have, because you know the pelagic fish that go through this whole area. Right. So the possibilities of envisioning what this means are numerous, and so they affect the economies of the island. They affect the sustainable yield of fish. They affect our diet of the future. They just have an enormous possibilities. So President Remengesau, his leadership is really key to expressing this, and you know he's drawn a lot of worldwide attention for that level of leadership. Well,
and it is leadership in Palau overall over the years, and you don't have to, you know, it's a simple Google as you go and find out what has been occurring in Palau over the years. I was bragging before the interview started, Mr. President, about the coral cloning, the replacement program that you have with coral, the incredible work that your people are doing with the giant clams. I had Tova Barnovsky from Fish and Fins here in the studio just a couple of days ago with Mr. Lee Weber talking about the shark night activities here. What happens down there is Shark Week, and it's been many years since Palau has been a shark preserve as well. And you've already seen the fruits of that work, have you not, Mr. President?
That's right, Ray. And in fact, studies have shown that the value of a live shark is worth about $1.9 million over the 60, 70 years of its lifespan, a single shark. Where if you kill the shark and for its fin or whatever, it's probably about a little over $100 total. So there's the economic value definitely in helping us to preserve the not only sharks but other very important and endangered species in Palau, like turtles. And you know, tourists come to our islands not just to snorkel or scuba dive, but they want to see the marine life in there. So they want to see sharks, they want to see a turtle, they want to see a school and groups of fish. So when you talk about our economic future, really this is our livelihood is also our economic future, and it's our cultural future. It's our health future. We need to stop eating too much canned food and really return to eating fish and taro diet. Get rid of these NCD problems that comes from imported food.
Interesting.
So all of these, as Dr. Underwood has noted, is all intertwined. It's really not just about fishing. It's about health. It's about economic opportunities. It's about the sustainable culture of our people.
You'd mentioned food security, and that's a topic that pops into my head from time to time, and I think about our populations in the islands and what would happen to us if the planes stopped flying and the ships stopped coming in. I don't know that Guam could sustain our population based on what we can grow and what we can fish right now, so that kind of conversation is very important, maybe even more so to a country like yours. So tell me about how these sanctuaries will improve your food security.
Well, that's right, Ray. And if I just can quickly say, we have a lower minimum wage minimum wage salary compared to other countries, but our people are able to survive because they can fish. They can still fish the fish out there, and we can still farm the land, and that helps to complement or supplement your low wages and income from employment. So there's that security that is addressed by having abundance of ocean resources still out there, free. It just depends on your skill and your commitment to go out there and get it. Even our customs and cultural events are dependent so much on ocean resources, and we don't have to buy the fish. Just make sure some of your extended family know how to fish, so they can go out there, with a tank of gasoline and provide food for hundreds of people. So that's the lifestyle that really needs to be supported by conservation measures. But getting back to your point, it's important that we maintain a healthy population of the fish, not only to support the economic opportunities out there or the food security needs of our people, but that there is continuity to all of this into the future.
Mr. President, before we go to the break, I was asked by one of my callers earlier today. I was bragging that you were going to be on the program, and he said, ask about the role that the women of Palau played in the creation of these sanctuaries that have popped up down there over the many years. Tell me about Mrs. and her role in the process.
Well, the women, Ray, we say the women are we say that the land is our mother and that the ocean is our father. And while some of our women are very good fishermen, I might add, the idea of a sanctuary, the idea of the bull, is a total community initiative and a total community enforcement effort. So yes, women do come into the picture, and actually the fact that they appoint our chiefs and the fact that they give out the money, they control the purse. These kind of initiatives can only work if the blessing of the women are there in the community. And in fact, in Palau, we have a very strong Palau Women's Association or group. They do annual conference, and it's out of this conference that we see a lot of conservation initiatives to protect sharks, to protect turtles, and to protect other endangered species. But on the land, I might add, the women are responsible for also expanding the opportunities for farming, especially the production of our taro and other indigenous local crops.
We're going to take a very short break and return to the conversation with the President of Palau, His Excellency Tommy Remengesau. Be right back.
Day. The proper display of accessible parking placards is mandatory for authorized individuals with disabilities. Failure to display a parking placard may result in a fine. Police may confiscate a placard if they believe it is being used illegally. Police officers and Cape volunteers have clear authority to enforce parking laws in both public and private property. These provisions are designed to give preferred access to people with mobility challenges. For more information, please call DISIT.
475-4646. Merry Christmas! It's the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Guam's 10th annual Breakfast with Santa on Saturday, December 12th from 8 to 10 a.m. at the Holiday Resort. Valet parking is free, so be sure to come out and join Santa for a breakfast buffet and get your annual Santa photo. Get your tickets at Buzz Cuts and Ponytails or Bubbly Tea Cafe. $15 for children and $25 for adults. Call 472-2227 for more info. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Guam's 10th annual Breakfast with Santa is brought to you by Bank of Guam, Sorensen Media Group, Take Care, G4S, and Addis Trust and Investment.
At Stay Well, your coverage just got more rewarding. Introducing Stay Well Perks Loyalty Program. Get exclusive member discounts from Perks partner restaurants, spas, auto services, and more when you show your Stay Well card. Plus, members are eligible to win monthly prizes. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to enter. Perks, partners, and monthly prizes. Just another reward for staying well. Live well. Stay well.
.957, and many people asking about the vote over at the legislature. 201 and 204 both failed, and a lot of people asking me who voted no on those measures. Who's going to be in the front page of the news tomorrow morning? It depends on which message. We've got the list. Patty has got the list, and she'll read it to you when she gets on the radio. I want to spend as much time as possible on the long distance conversation with the president of Palau. His name is Tommy Remengesau. And today we're talking about what I consider, what many people consider to be the great victory of being able to turn about 600,000 square kilometers, as I say, from the top of Bubble Dub all the way down to the last of the Sonsoro Islands into a protected area, a sanctuary, if you will, from excessive taking and fishing. And when we talk about Palau and how serious they are about this, a reminder, I think, Mr. President, it was you that actually put the torch to those fishing boats, wasn't it?
Say that again, Ray?
I believe it was you that actually put the torch to those illegal fishing boats, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, Ray. Unfortunately, we had to send a very strong and firm message to all poachers and illegal fishermen that no longer will we just prosecute them, but that we will burn their ships because this is an issue dear to our hearts. It's our livelihood and survival, and we will protect our waters with firm determination. And Ray, on this point, I might also add that we have an added responsibility now that the southern lagoon of Palau has also been designated by the United Nations as a World Heritage Site,
yes.
The southern lagoon of Koror. So, you know, it's really a responsibility to make sure that these sites are protected.
Mr. President, unfortunately, we're out of time, Mr. President, and I wanted to invite you to the studios of K57 the next time that you were in town. I'd like to ask Uncle Robert to join me as well, because I'd love to spend a lot more time talking about the initiative, the current initiative, and what you have planned next in your administration and for the people of Palau. Can I count on you to come back?
Yes, we will do, Ray, because this is a regional thing. It's not just for Palau. It involves all of us, and I hope we all work together to make it work.
So long for your time, Mr. President. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Ray.